and at any second we're gonna be live, so be ready for that.
I'll just shout obscenities.
All right, we are here live from Talladega for the No Bull 250. We're in open qualifying right now, and as you can see, there is a crash on the speedway.
Well, if you want to get a good qualifying time in, it's really best to hit the wall.
Right, right. We're gonna wrap up Q here in about a minute and a half, and we'll be set to go here for 250 miles at Talladega. If you were here with us for Daytona, you should expect to see a little bit of what we had there. Pack racing, not a lot of pushing, but here we got a lot more space, so you can hopefully have some three wide racing and what we couldn't have at Daytona.
We still live?
Yes. All right, we are just rolling off the grid here at Talladega for the No Bull 250, getting set to go 250 miles tonight. And on the pole we have Jeremy Stanley, and on his outside will be Matt Sanders. And I would tell you who is on back, but we have a little bit of technical difficulties, so you just see who you know, and there they are.
That's not happening. That's not even letting me in.
And the grid continues to roll as we get the pace lap out of the way. In about 2 minutes' time, we'll be rolling at over 195 miles an hour for 250 miles of will surely be non-stop action.
Yes, these drivers are going to have to become accustomed to this new style of racing that iRacing's brought to the curb here, different from a couple weeks ago when we were at Daytona. These guys are going to have to get accustomed quite fast. A lot of experience between these guys, though. I don't doubt they'll have any problems with it.
And the pace car is about to pull in here, and Green's going to control the start, and we'll be underway here for the No Bull 250. And the green flag is out. As we head off into turn number 1, Stanley maintains the lead with a push from the 15.
Two by two through the field. Now we see a little bit of 3 wide towards the back as we get up to speed. Everybody's trying to get into line and get into the position that they think is going to allow them to advance to the front.
And now we have a move to the outside as we get into turn number 3. It's Case Brinksma going to the outside of Jeremy Stanley with a push from the 20 of Shane Daugherty. And it looks like they're going to take the lead here, and I think Case is going to lead the first lap.
It appears that way. He's getting a push, a little bit of single file up front, but still spread out. Double file, seeing a little bit of 3 wide towards the back of the pack as everybody gets into their positions.
The leaders really have checked out right now. They are about 10 car lengths ahead of third place Jeremy Stanley, but with the way this is set up, that if they keep on pushing, they're going to get hot real quick, and they'll just get engulfed by the pack, or at least that's what we saw in practice.
And just look at this beautiful field here. Almost 40-something cars. And these guys, it's definitely the calm before the storm. They're just taking it easy as they come to the trial. They're going to complete lap number 2. Right now, as you said, a couple of the guys up front, single file. We've got 2 and 3 wide in the middle, but nothing crazy. Just settling in for the long haul here.
It looks like Stanley, who was our pole sitter, has now found a partner in Chris Overland, and they're starting to make a gap on the rest of the pack, trying to catch the leaders, Brinksma and Daugherty.
Something interesting in the back, Corey Heffley and Brendan McGee starting from pit road. They have a little bit of a strategy going. They might get caught, though. Just got to manage their how their car is going to either overheat or not. We got a spinner in the back, though. It's a single car spin. It looks like 2 cars now involved. Trevor Smith, is everybody going to miss him? They do. In the field, according to effects, caution will be out here on lap 3. Looks like that other car involved was the 24. It's a 3 wide situation gone bad there. You'll see it in the replay. A great job by all these guys in the back of this field missing these guys.
Yeah, just 3 wide gone wrong. Doesn't look like there's anybody really gonna get a lot of damage in this. Maybe none. Really good break for
Oh.
the 41.
I believe the 7 has got hit by another car. I'm just checking to see if that's right. Yeah, it looks like this Steve Bone Steel car, the 25 machine, is going to make heavy contact with that 7 car, and that's probably going to end his day.
All right. Well, it looks like we're gonna have some cars coming into pits here, more towards the back, maybe at the front. Got some takers, got some staying out. Not sure what the advantages or disadvantages are, but just a few laps into this event here at Talladega.
Looks like Chris Overland's putting on some tires. Everybody else seems either opting for tires or just fuel. A little bit of an advantage, I guess, you can get here with 4 laps. Pretty big speedway. That's about 10 miles worth of fuel that you're gaining over your competition. And with what we saw at Daytona and the other big feature that we've had, there was a lot of long green flag racing, especially throughout the first 2/3 of the race. So if we have a similar condition, maybe fuel mileage will play into how this race finishes.
You never know. But what I was hearing in the drivers' meeting was that Brendan McGee, the admin of the race, has opted to, if there is a caution within the final 5 laps, all the drivers will have to come down pit road and sit as a form of red flag so they can at least get a few laps on the green to finish the event.
That's an interesting call by him. We saw the Daytona race. It had a few cautions back-to-back at the end and ended up finishing the race under yellow. We'll see if we have a similar situation, how that changes the outcome of the race.
Definitely something to look for towards the end of this event.
Fuel mileage here at Talladega, I don't expect it to be a problem. It wasn't too big of a problem at Daytona, if any. I believe we'll get about 30 to 35 laps, just like Daytona, just depending on how the draft is going to affect these cars and the speeds, because we are seeing a little bit of a higher speed here at Talladega, so that could come into effect. Pace car pulls in. We're going to get the green flag this time by. Your leader is going to be the number 15, followed by Shane Daughtry in the 20 car. Green flags in the hands of the starters, and we are back.
And single file starts here again, just like Daytona. It becomes a bit of a hassle for those at the back, but the guys up front must love it here, getting right there with their partners and whatnot, getting a good lead off into the one and on the backstretch.
And what you have to be careful about, especially in the later stages of this race, you have to make sure you're guarding that outside line, because people can advance on the outside, but not on the inside before the start-finish line on these restarts.
Yeah, just to show you how big of an effect that single file start has. These guys are just coming off turn 2, and these guys are, going into turn 3, and, it's a huge difference. It won't take them long to get caught back up, but it's crazy to realize that almost a whole straightaway is full when it's single file.
Especially on those restarts, if one person spins their tires or misses a shift, that's going to back up the whole entire line behind them, and they're going to have to do a lot of work to catch back up to the pack.
Definitely a
single file. Sorry, go ahead.
A lot more pushing going on here than we had at Daytona. Maybe a product of the lack of bumps here at Dega being repaved in 06.
Yes, something interesting is occurring right now. What we thought would have been easy to catch back up is actually playing out to be quite the opposite. The field has kind of pulled itself away. There's little gaps where we have about 6 or 7 individual packs here. And now it appears to be playing some sort of effect because we are creating 2 separate globs here as they come off turn number 4. We have a pack of about 10 cars up front, and then the rest are behind. So interesting to see here.
I think this is all a product of the fact that these guys can push for at least a short amount of time before the temperatures become an issue, just because this track is so smooth, like Bates said. As the run continues along, I think the pack will kind of mesh back together, since everybody's going to have to stick with the more traditional style of drafting.
to be completing lap number 8 here at the famed Talladega. And just as we were talking about this, it's starting to become a little bit more packed up front. We've got a high line forming and a middle line also there. Now it drops to be 2 wide with the 4 car and the 75 of Chris Largan side by side as they come to the tri-oval to complete lap number 8 here at Talladega.
And that's Kyle Tarasca trying to work the outside, but he lost his partner. He was a big player in the race at Daytona, so we'll have to keep our eye on him today.
What I find interesting about what he's doing right now is that coming out the corner, looks like the 15 will actually move up, and it looks like an attempt to block, but really it's just giving him more draft to work with, and he's worked his way up all the way to his door.
Just while all this is occurring here, now the pack starts to form 2 wide. 2, 3, 4 rows now starting to accommodate that high line. And it appears that Tarasca's going to have some help off turn number 4. Here comes the 666 car looking to make a move up front.
Yeah, it looks
like we have about 13 cars in this first pack. Then you're looking at about a dozen car lengths back to the 14th place runner. That being Brock Drury, and he has a pack of cars behind him trying to work their way back up to this main pack.
if the 4 car can get a run up off this corner, he can be set up pretty good to take the lead this lap. Wow, really close off of 2, the 15 swerve, and looks like Tarasca's going to have to run down into 3.
Yeah, and the whole field now up front, at least for the pack up front, 3 by 3 by 3. Look at Eric Rodman way up high, almost into the wall, and he keeps it out of the fence. The 38 goes below him, and they were 4 wide there for a second as they come off turn number 4.
Wow.
New leader up front.
And from third and on the outside line to now leader of the inside line, there's a 3 of Cody Dutton, I believe. And he's almost going to lead, but Kyle Tarasca this lap.
Kyle Tarasca leads, almost contacting the 3 and the 2 going into 1. That could have been bad. Speaking of bad, here comes Mr. Bad Crazy Guy, the number 2, Cody Dutton up high. He was a main player at the Daytona race. Him and Tarasca got together, and they didn't do anything but lead that whole race. Now he jumps into the bottom line here, and let's see if they can get back up front and get something going again.
Yeah, Kyle Tarasca, he dove down in front of Cody Dutton, wanted to get with the guy who worked with him so well in that Daytona race. Kind of left Jeff Ramsdale out to dry, who pushed him up there, but Ramsdale finds his way in line running 4th.
Now the 3 and the 4, just like their numbers are paired, going to be 1, 2, right behind, right in front. And let's see if they can get something going. But the 15 and the 2 are trying to change that. Now 2 by 2 up for first and second. We've got a lead change almost going to take place in turn 1.
That's Case Brinksma side by side with Tarasca there, getting the edge. Looks like he's going to clear him off the corner here.
And just like that.
It looks like this element of being able to push every once in a while, they can get that little bit of a burst to push people up about 5 car lengths higher than they were, and they just use that to push Brinksma up into the lead.
Now 3 wide once again in the middle of the pack there. Appears to be Matt Sanders who's in front of this chaos, if you will. And the guy letting off the gas now as Jeremy Stanley goes under him is the 46. He just wasn't feeling it. Now he starts to drop back right above Brandon Hoff.
Well, we just completed the 12th lap of a 94-lap race. No, nothing to, criticize as far as being patient.
Back up front, the lead changes continue, or at least try to. New leader, Matt Sanders, now the 666 car of Eric Rodman goes low under him in turn number 4, and he's going to complete the pass. Will the 9 be able to get in line, though, off turn number 4 into the tri-oval? He's still holding into his door here. New leader coming across the line is going to be the 666 car.
And he comes back up to pick back up Matt Sanders, or possibly block him. Who knows his motivation, but nonetheless, he goes up there, gives Sanders a little bit of draft, and here comes Kyle Tarasca up high with help from Cody Dutton.
Yeah, I was getting ready to say don't look now, but here comes the fantastic duo off turn number 2 down the backstretch, 3 wide for second place. The 15's holding strong, and now it appears that the 4 has no help, and he's not being able to be pushed, so we are 3 by 3 going into 4.
3 abreast there for a moment for the lead. Now Tarasca's dropping back a little bit, but nonetheless, they're fighting for the lead coming off of turn number 4.
The 666 car still holding strong on the high side, but not as strong as that 15 and 2 are on the low line. That appears Taraska and Dutton have kind of backed off, maybe getting a little too hot as they go into one. And now this whole field is kind of squished up to each other. We've got the majority of the entire field just about separated by no more than 5 seconds.
And although they weren't able to get the lead there at that point in time, they did get a little bit of information as far as how long they can go before they start running hot. It will probably be really key as to when they want to make their move when it really matters at the end of the race.
And you said key, and I think one of their key strategies of the race right now is about to start taking place. A lot of these guys are starting to single file out, and it's not because they're not able to get up there. It's just people are just jumping on the low line and they're staying there. Yeah, we've got 2 and 3 wide racing, but believe it or not, this is the calmest, craziest it's been all race. As far as we're pretty calm, but we're 2 wide playing, and it's working out so far. We're on lap 16. Everybody's doing a great job here.
And the only thing you have to take note of is the fact that we talked about it being a 13-car lead pack. It's now become a 25-car lead pack. That second group caught up to the lead pack, and now they're riding in their draft and just waiting until they want to make their moves.
Yeah, and a little bit, something that's a little crazier, we still got about 7 or 6 cars that aren't even in that main pack up front, and they're still just riding, solo back there, taking it easy, taking their time. But let's go back up front because we're having a lead change possibly taking place. 3 wide in the tri-oval.
Not going to quite have the run to get up to the lead at the start-finish line, but they are making a run up high. It's the 666 of Rodman, and he has help from Matt Sanders behind.
And I'm looking at the 95 of Steven here, as he was just high, wide, and handsome going through the tri-oval. Now he's behind the 666. He's going to try to get to the back of his bumper, and they might get something going. Whoa, he's dodging in and out of traffic there. Not sure what he's doing. Pushing or really trying to push the 666, but he was pushing the envelope as well. That could have been bad, and so far we've seen 2 big moments, and I'm pretty sure that's not the last.
Looks like they're going to get a big run here up off of 4, and we might have another lead change here. Just already 4 in these short 17 laps.
We see it again, that big push that Rodman's able to get from the 95, and that puts him to the lead. The question just is, how long can he push? Now he dives to the inside.
Yeah, and almost cuts off Brinksma there. That could have been huge. Wow, I mean, talking about some confident drivers here. These guys are not giving up, and they're going to give an inch, and if they can get that inch, they'll take it. New leader off turn number 2, 95 car.
Steven Edzenyi, he looks like he really wants to get up there, spend as many laps as he can at the point, wants to enjoy every lap of this race, and he just seems to want it more than some of them, at least, right now.
Yeah. Trevor Smith here might cause some turmoil here, as the field was appropriately 3 wide, and now they're going to have to go 4 wide. It's going to hold up the 46 car. A little harm, but no really foul. 4 wide is Trevor Smith holding high on the high side. That kind of shook up the field, so we go back to single file for the first 6 or 7 cars.
Yeah, that from inside the car, I'm sure that was a couple of anxious moments there as they were going 4 wide through the tri-oval. The tri-oval probably the most precarious place to try and get through at Talladega. And to be going 4 wide with a lap car, it's going significantly slower than you. That must grab your attention.
We got Brinksma to the outside coming off of 4. May utilize the side draft here and get the lead back. And he's got a little bit of help from Matt Sanders, and now there's even some help from Jeff Ramsdale in the 2, and he's going to lead this lap.
Oh, we got to be real careful there. Look at the 9 and the 2 almost making contact. They may have Matt Sanders all over the back bumper of the 2 car. Now the 2 car and Brinksma here starting to pull away up front once again. '95 car is really wanting to get something going here. He's in 3rd, but he's peeking out. Might be getting a little too hot, though. That could also be what is occurring. As, an accordion effect there almost takes the 8 car out. And he goes way high to dodge that. Close call again. And the reason why I bring it up and why this is significant is because we have so many packs that are spreaded apart that if something happens up front, then we have, another 20 car pack that's going to arrive, and then another 10 car, and we got to crash.
There they go around in the back.
and this is just what I was talking about. Are they going to get out of the way before that second pack gets there? And they're going to split them here. Thankfully, that wasn't any bigger than it had to be. And just as I was talking about how these packs can be so dangerous, especially when they're staggered, luckily nothing big, and it looks like the Surface Master Clean Caution is going to come out here on lap 21.
That was Nick Lancaster in the number 33. Looked like he just got up on the bumper of the car in front of him a little bit too much. Tagged the outside wall a little bit, but I think he might be all right. He was just riding behind Brian Green and went to push him and just caught his bumper wrong and went around. So we find ourselves under caution for the second time today, working lap number 22 of the 94 lap schedule today in the No Bull 250. Your leader at this point is Case Brinksma, followed by Jeff Ramsdell and the 95 of Steven Enzel. Matt Saunders runs fourth, and Shane Doherty running fifth.
22 laps in here under our second caution, and we're going to cut to our first commercial break as the leaders drop down pit road, if they do.
This season, Jimmy Johnson knows that there's nothing more painful than losing. Not running out of fuel on the last lap. Not getting hit in the ear with a frisbee while jogging through the infield. Not getting a paper cut, then making fresh squeezed lemonade. Losing is even more painful than rescuing a baby porcupine from a thorn bush. Raising it as your own. Then releasing it back into the wild.
Goodbye, Pricklebear.
Jimmy Johnson knows that if losing didn't hurt, winning wouldn't feel so good.
And we are back here at Talladega, still under caution after that two-car, maybe just a little spin, and Case Brinksma is still your leader. Only a few cars went down pit road.
Actually, it looked that most of the field went on the pit road and only a few cars stayed out. And considering that we're working now the 23rd lap here, and a lot of these guys had not pit under that first caution, and that was back on lap 4. I don't understand why you would not at least come in and get fuel.
I guess that these guys up front like where they're at. They like the track position. They feel comfortable, and I guess they'd rather stop under green than get tangled up in the pack while stopping under yellow. No telling.
Well, if that's the case, we'll have to see if they elect to pit here this second time around, because then it would just be the 4 or 5 of them coming onto the pit lane. But if they don't pit under this caution, it might come back to haunt them later on in the race. It appears that it was the first 4 cars in our running order that stayed out, and Matt Saunders was the first one to come off of pit lane in the 5th position. We'll have to see here if any of those top 4 runners decide to come down pit road this time. Doesn't look like it.
Yeah, it looks like most of the guys that did come down pit road just took fuel or maybe even 2 tires, because we see some 6 and 8 second stops. So yeah, just need fuel here for Talladega. It doesn't look like they're going to need tires, just similar to what we had at Daytona.
Yeah, as the tires wear down, it doesn't appear that there's much loss of grip, whereas at Daytona, it wasn't very much of an issue, but you did have a little bit of concern about a lack of grip. And the only time you're going to have to put on tires here at Talladega is if you're worried about them wearing down to the point where they're going to blow out, but grip doesn't become an issue.
Lights are off on the pace car here, and it looks like some of our leaders might be saving a little bit of fuel.
And it looks like Trevor Smith was the recipient of the free pass under that caution. He gets to go back and gain a lap. The one driver I do somewhat like, as far as these four that stayed out and didn't duck onto the pit lane, that would be Elliott Henderson there in the number 37 running fourth in line. He was quite a ways back in the pack, and by staying out, he gets some track position. If there's problems, especially quick on this restart, he might be in a better position to avoid them by being possibly in front of it.
Yeah, definitely. He's been as far back as 25th today, and I think that fourth might be a nice place for him to be. Just a little bit calmer than what he's been seeing back there.
And he also finds himself running with four people who'll be on the same pit cycle as him, so he'll have some buddies to work with when they do have to come down and pit. So not all bad for the 37. I just don't know if I can agree with the move made by those guys who were already running up front.
All right, well, pace car is in, and we're getting ready to go green here. 24 laps into this 94-lap event. Case Brinksma is your leader. And the green flag is out.
And they go through the gears and cross the start-finish line. Looks like
Chris
there's someone
Oberlin.
making a move up on the outside back there, but everybody else ducking back down to the inside as they work their way into turn number one.
Not sure if it's legal or what he did was at the appropriate time, but he pulled it off just fine. Chris Oberlin going to make up about 6 spots on this restart as they come through turns 1 and 2.
I don't know if there was a little bit of a bottleneck there from like 6th on back, or if he just got it, but he's made some moves on the outside on that restart.
Yeah, and he's still going too, and he's just dropped in right behind the 8 car, whether he wanted to or not, as he came right up in front of him.
Looks like
That's
he's
our
gonna.
Daytona winner there that we're looking at.
Yeah, it looks like he's gonna work with a winner of the iRacing Daytona 500, Corey Carpenter, and they're gonna go to the outside of Kyle Tarasco.
Looking back at it, looks like he was just ready to go and nobody was guarding the outside line in front of him, and he took advantage.
Elliott Henderson now finds himself all alone on the high side, now drops in the low line, now is straddling both lanes, now he finally makes his decision, drops to the low line, right behind the first 3 cars ahead of him. Now he's looks like he's got an unstable car. Actually, he's quite the bob and weaver right now as they went through turns 3 and 4 and now through the trioval.
We documented it under the caution period there. He was running around in the back, just kind of in one of those groups running single file trying to catch up with the lead pack. Now he finds himself running right at just about the point, running in 4th, so a little bit of a different situation where it might take some adjusting to.
Just peeks there on the apron. I'm not sure, but he's putting 2 tires below the apron there in the corner, and that is not how you fix an unstable car. And now he's getting pushed by the school car there, the 9, Matt Sanders. And now they are trying to get a high line going. Maybe he can't run the low line, so he's going to try the high side, and we'll have to see how that turns out. We've got kind of a race for 3rd place here.
A lot of times what will happen with the guys with less experience in this kind of racing, they'll not really know how to negotiate the turns while they're tucked up behind somebody, and you'll see a little bit of what we just saw, a little surging in and out of lanes and hitting the apron and whatnot. And the safest thing to do is just to be able to see.
Now, it's quite difficult. If you were to ride on board in one of these cars, you'd see how limited your vision is when you have a car right in front of you, and it's kind of hard to judge where you are on the track without having any sense of where you are.
46 there of Rafferty, almost into the wall as I go right to him. It almost appears that 37, who we were just talking about, Henderson Graphics, Chevrolet there almost put him into the fence, and that's going to accordion the middle part of that field, and now he's just going to back off and say, I'll pass on that, as he almost gets the 666 car thrown right into his quarter panel. Man, it's getting crazy.
And while that's all going on, we have the 8 of Corey Carpenter and the 47 of Chris Overland going into the outside with a little bit of help from Matt Sanders as well. There's side by side for the lead now. A little bit of a block there from Case Brinksma. He's been pulling that move a lot tonight, and it's working so far, but at the same time, he seems to get past anytime he pulls it.
He's gotten away with doing it without any damage to his vehicle or other people's vehicles, but you see here it cost him the lead and second position and possibly third with Matt Sanders working the outside of him.
Yeah, and Matt Sanders barely gave him any room. That's something I'm starting to see from Matt. He's trying to get the optimal side draft here, and to do that, really, you have to squeeze the guy on the low line. Give him maybe half a car off that low line, and then that's it. Because if you want to hold your speed, you got to basically fit in with the low line with him, and not try to wreck him, but get as much speed as you possibly can.
Well, Sanders likes to participate in these restrictive plate races whenever iRacing has their series going on one of these tracks. He likes to participate quite a bit, and certainly a type of racing that he's very comfortable with.
Speaking of getting comfortable, these drivers are starting to get comfortable with running 2 by 2 by 2. It's almost as if we just had a restart in a double file rule server here, and now they're actually looking 3 and maybe 4 wide through the tri-oval.
Yeah, here
Cody
comes
Dutton up there up at the top with Jeremy Stanley pushing, trying to make up some ground in that third lane.
Yeah, and Jeremy Stanley way up high pushing the 3. I'm not sure if that's an efficient lane to be pushing someone, but they're going to try it here, and so far it looks like they're not losing any ground, but they're not really gaining any. And look at this pack. This is the most skewed pack we've seen so far, and no one really in line. Is one car way up high, and it's Chris Overland in the 47.
Not sure what he was doing there, but it looks like he got to the bottom, and that's where he wanted to go, and he's going to have a push from Jeff Ramsdale now.
As they come across the line to complete lap 32, we are well into this race. It's flying by, as we've only had 2 cautions now, and both of them resulting in 2-car spins. And with just about a 40-car pack we have here when they're all together, it's surprising that we haven't had anything bigger. I doubt we'll be saying that at the end of the race, though, so don't get mad.
It's still early on. There's still a lot more give than there is take out of most of the drivers, at least, and anytime there's been a bit too much take, they've been able to gather back up together, but as things pick up towards the end, I'm sure it's going to be harder for them to keep them straight. As they go 3 wide for the lead, as they talk about, giving more than taking.
Yeah, and 3 wide at the line, if that was the finish, that would have been absolutely fantastic. We just might see that tonight, as these guys are really showing what they're going to be doing at the end of this race. Contact with the 47 of Chris Overland. They go 3 wide. Now looking 3 wide for the lead. No heartbeat is going to stop there. They're still in it, and he never let off the gas. The 9 of Matt Sanders there trying to hold off the 3. Now the 3 is going to have help from the 8, and look at that, the 8 and the 3 pushing. That is some fantastic sight right there. You got a couple other cars jumping line as well. Now we have a battle up front again with the 99 of Jeremy Stanley off turn 3 and 4, pushing Matt Sanders. It's starting to get intense.
As you see them work their way through the tri-oval, a lot of cars moving all around the track, trying to find the line that they want to get into to work their way back up to the front. Corey Heffley works his way, Jeremy Stanley works his way to the back of Matt Sanders, trying to push him back up to the lead.
Yeah, and just look at this run. They're going to get off turns number 1 and 2 here. They are going for it, and off turn number 2 down the super stretch. Are they going to be able to get there in turn 3 and 4? I think Stanley's running a little hot, so it's a drag race to 3 and 4.
As Sanders edges ahead, the question is how much momentum can they hold up there on the high line without Stanley being able to push like he was on the front stretch last time. We were talking about that brief amount of pushing that they can do to gain a lot of ground, but once that stops, you have to be in a good line to keep gaining ground.
Yeah, the 8 car was all but sideways going through turns 3 and 4, and it's starting to get intense as Chris Overland is not wanting to get out of it whatsoever. He's trying to get back into it. It's almost as he's ready to go back into the Matrix, the Twilight Zone per se. And they are getting pretty Twilight Zone-ish racing up here as some cars are popping out, going back in, 1-3, and doing some stuff I've never seen on a super speedway, especially this early in the race. These guys are starting to get crazy.
Yeah, if things go wrong, they might be asking to get beamed up.
Yeah, definitely. Beam me up, Scotty. And some of these guys would love to get out of this middle of this pack that they have nowhere to go.
We saw Sanders take the lead on the outside, and by the way, by the time they get their way back to turns 3 and 4, he finds himself on the bottom, and Cody Dutton's on the outside taking the lead back from him as they work their way through the tri-oval.
A real beautiful sight now. We've got all 30-something cars here that are in this race, at least are near the pack, all together now. I think the last car there is officially 31st place, 32nd, excuse me. So we've got 32 cars running just about 2 seconds in between each other. So that is absolutely mind-blowing.
And Brennan McGee, he's in the middle of that pack somewhere, and this is exactly what he was hoping to get, was good pack racing, and it is indeed a beautiful sight, as you said.
Contact, and we just
carnage
jinxed
in the
it.
back.
They're putting him in the fence. Huge crash in turns 3 and 4. I think they're going to get it woed down, though. Looks to be about 6, maybe 7 cars in it. Cars sliding into the inside wall, going through turns 3 and 4. Triffin Davis with late contact as he spins around. Caution, flag is out, and we're sorry, we jinxed it.
And I learned my lesson from the last time we had one of these big events. I didn't say it prematurely. That was the big one.
Yeah. Yeah, you never know. These guys, they can save it, and they did. I mean, we're still taking out about 6 or 7 cars here. Maybe not taking out, but we had 6 or 7 cars involved. But it appears that we're still going to have an integrity that is pretty significant to this pack, and I think we're only going to see about 3 or 4 cars with significant damage.
I'm willing to bet that there were a few more cars there that got a little bit of cosmetic damage, but not nearly as much as the major ones that got piled in there. And unfortunately, I'm looking at Brennan McGee on pit road getting some damage repaired. It looks like the rear end of his car is pretty well torn up. I don't know how well they're going to be able to fix that, and if he's going to be able to get back into a state where he can contend. A shame, because pack racing is exactly what he wanted, and it is great, but that's often the result of it.
Yeah, I'm looking back here at the replay. It looks like the 33 car just misjudged it, and that's where it's all going to start. And yeah, I mean, you just go from there. I mean, it's...
Yeah, he's working his way up the middle, then goes to the bottom and just washes up a little bit and clips the 06, and they go around from there.
An unfortunate situation for a lot of these drivers, and I mean, one being the 58 of Danny Congdon. I mean, he was through the crash. I mean, a little bit of a bump, a little bit of a scrape, but then it really got bad for him. Some slight damage turned into a pretty big frontal hit.
I was looking to see where McGee got that damage, and we talked about him being a contender. Kyle Tarasca, he drilled him pretty good trying to get through that wreck.
Yeah,
I don't know how much damage he sustained.
I'm not sure what Tarasca was trying to accomplish, but here at Talladega, it's more of a self-cleaning racetrack. His initial instinct was to dive low, and that's where all the cars were eventually going to go. In this case, they went there pretty fast. I think it caught him off guard.
Well, unfortunately for him, I think he was hoping that he would be able to sweep under the wreck and find a hole to get through it, but unfortunately other people were trying to accomplish the same thing, and they ran into each other, and then he ran into them.
We're going to ride on board here with the 86 of Tyler Dubois as he gets to here. Pretty crazy ride. And he narrowly gets through that with, if any damage. It's a very little bit lucky day for him.
Yeah, and that's one of those crashes where you get to the other side and you just pinch yourself because you say to yourself, I think we got through that just fine. I don't think I want to do it again, but I'm glad we did get through it. because the hits are a lot harder when you're going about 50 miles per hour faster than the guy you're coming up on.
This is just lap 36, though, of 94. There's still a lot of time for that to happen again. You're going to need more luck still to make sure you're able to miss them all.
Yeah, that's something, like I said, we haven't seen the big one yet. Don't get mad, because I doubt at the end of the race we will be saying that. So here we are with what appears to be our first major incident with what appears to be 6 or 7 cars.
I'm going through counting it. I'm counting 8 cars, including the 24 Triffin Davis, who got clipped there at the end. I don't know if he sustained a lot of damage, but he did get clipped.
All right.
With this iRacing model, I mean, a clip like that could ruin the suspension if he got hit in the tire or, you know, didn't really hit right. But it appears his car is doing just fine. Just a little cosmetic damage on that rear end.
Lights are off atop the pace car, and we're gonna have a quick commercial break. We'll be back with the restart.
Family is joining me in spreading the word about Napa quality.
I'm at the wrong track. I didn't know I was that good looking.
And I'm not splitting the money with you. You think they're making fun of me? I think they're making fun of me.
And we are back here at Talladega on the backstretch, getting ready to go back green after the big one so far. 8 cars involved. Not sure how many are taken out, but definitely 8 cars received damage.
And as we go back, or get ready to go back to green flag racing, our first big crash, which I believe fell in lap 36, the Quicker State big one of the day, brought to you by Oral. Now, it's just a little fun we're playing here. These guys have been racing fantastic all day, and they can afford to have 1 or 2 big ones. Fantastic racing, and it's only about to get better. Green flag in the hands of the starters. Matt Sanders in the 9 car going to lead them to the flag. Green flag is out, and we're back racing at Talladega.
I think everybody took note of what Chris Overland was able to accomplish on that last restart, because they're all right up by that wall before they get to the start-finish line, and now they start to duck down.
And it's almost as if it's like Pocono Turn 1, where everybody decides this is it. As we're getting up to speed, we're going to try to make up some positions going into 1, and they fanned out pretty crazy. Like,
Jeremy Stanley found himself in the wrong line. He's getting put in the sucker hole right now. Restarted 5th, and he's not running there anymore.
The 3 cars trying everything. Contact up front. We're going to put them in the fence. That's going to be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1 car upside down, flipping. And we're going to stack them up even more in turns 3 and 4.
And that is big one edition number 2.
And I think that's bigger one edition number 2. That is massive. And I was just saying the 3 car was bobbing, was weaving. He got put what appears to be into the fence. I'm not sure if it was him that caused it, but it definitely was him moving around the track. It looks like it was Sanders and the 18 get together, Stephen Landry there, and man, that's unfortunate because that is a ton of cars and a ton of good ones too.
It looked like the 18 was coming down. Maybe didn't realize they were 3 wide underneath of them, but hard with everything happening that quickly. Just trying to protect your position and just barely clipped the 9, and around they went. And you have to look at Cody Dutton. He did a fantastic job to keep his car in one piece through all of that.
Yeah, and Daytona winner Chris Overland also sneaks through right behind the start of the wreck.
And I had mentioned Jeremy Stanley moving back. He restarted pretty much where Chris Overland ended up running at that point in time, and he caught a piece of that wreck. Misjudging that restart cost him as far as being able to miss the wreck or getting into it potentially. You know what they like to say, though? Cautions breed cautions.
Yeah, and in this one, it was a caution NATO. I mean, we had cars flipping, spinning, flying, rolling over. Man, and a lot of people probably don't understand how someone, like, we go 30-something laps without crashing in on a restart before we even get up to full speed. I mean, 10 miles per hour from even hitting optimal speed, and we crash. It's the slower speeds. It's easier to crash because it's more easier to maneuver your car at a slower speed because you have all these guys bunched up. You're making this move. Like I said, everybody's dodging into turn one. They're running the high side and they dive down to the bottom. People in moves like that is what caused the big wrecks like we see.
Not to mention the fact you just spent a few laps, which amounts to a couple minutes, just under caution, thinking about what you want to accomplish on that restart, and when you put it, actually execute that in the midst of the race, things happen, and that generally tends to be what it is. Looking at the 86, we documented how we narrowly got through that first big incident. He didn't get through this one without any contact. It looked like he got a good hit to the front when he hit Matt Sanders, and a good hit from the back, too. I don't know how much damage he ended up receiving from it, but didn't get away scot-free.
Right. Something I'd like to point out, a lot of drivers tend to have a sixth sense of what's going to occur, or what they need to do before it does occur. And I think Cody Dutton is a pro at what he had just done. He, bobbed and weaved, took the lead, and did it fairly, didn't cause a wreck. It wasn't his fault, but he did get hit. And when he was sliding towards the inside wall, he let off the gas, got back into the gas so he wouldn't get hit in the rear end by the car that was spinning towards him, let off the gas again, so when he came back up onto the track, he wouldn't hit any cars that were already there. That is thinking ahead, and that's what most likely is going to give him a good finish today if he stays clean.
My goodness, I don't know if Alex Bates can bring it up. Lap 41 coming off of turn number 4. We're under caution looking at Jeremy Stanley. If he can bring that up, he gets nailed under caution and sustained a lot of damage. The number 38 looked like came up on the group too quick and slammed on the brakes and tank slapped it, and Jeremy Stanley was just at the wrong place at the wrong time.
Scrolling back now to go find what you were talking about.
And Mark Beach was given an end of the longest line penalty for having caused that incident.
And that's going to be it for Jeremy Stanley today because he's received a suspension failure because of that.
Oh, wow. The worst part about it is that the car coming down didn't hit him directly, but he spun avoiding him and then caught him.
Yeah, and he could have hit anywhere on that car, and it still would have been able to run, but he hit right in the tire wall, and that's going to do it. I don't care what you say. Something like that, a car cannot survive, especially when the damage comes directly to the tire, and that's the suspension failure. That's the reason why that occurred.
And he can spend a good amount of time on pit road getting that fixed, but it'll never be the same as it was. And not to mention the fact that he'll lose several laps in the process.
Yeah, I'll be surprised if they get that thing close to fixed at this point.
Looks like the 38 of Joe Johnson took it off the track immediately after that happened. Probably aware of the error that he made, but, kind of hard to keep attentive when, you're under caution and, thinking about what kind of strategy you want to execute and everything, but you got to make sure you're focused at all times, otherwise things like that can happen. Shout out to the other drivers in line who were able to avoid that, though, and prevent it from being something bigger. Something different to have to avoid an incident under caution, but they made it happen.
Green flag is back out. We're racing once again. Cody Dutton, who survived that amazing save going into 3 and 4, going to have to hold them off once again. Let's not get in trouble here again, guys, as they fanned out towards turn 1, and now it looks like the 95. And now it looks like the 16. They're going to get back in line. I thought for a second we were going to see another jumble up, but it appears playing it a little bit safer to come off turn 2.
And it'll be interesting to see if everybody takes a bit of a calmer approach. They were able to get away with a lot of stuff through the first about third of this race before anything went wrong, and we've had 2 pretty big incidents in quick succession of each other, so it'll be interesting to see if they change their approach and at least try and get some laps logged here.
I'm getting worried right now that if this race is to go caution-free, the leaders are going to be really close on fuel, and anybody who's pit recently might just make it.
We talked about it earlier, that fuel mileage, if the circumstances are right, it could play its way into this race. You don't expect it necessarily at Talladega, and you know.
Oh wow! The 28 of Ryan Williams just went for a big ride off of 2. It looks like he might have got it under control, but he was heading somewhere he didn't want to be.
Interesting fact about Ryan Williams being in this race. This is one of his more official races he's ever been in as far as iRacing goes. He's an Inter 2003 runner for the last couple of years. Jumping into iRacing, trying something different, and so maybe still trying to get the handle of this. We'll have to go back and take a look here in a little bit to see what happened, but good save by Ryan as they go into turns 1 and 2.
Bottom line, last time he was running 4th at the line, now he finds himself 16th and out of touch with the lead pack.
Looks like we got some pushing and shoving now coming off of 2 really aggressive blocking happening right now here, 46 laps in.
Yeah, it looks like Ryan, going back looking at the incident, looks like he launched up the track just a tiny bit, caught the door of Jeff Ramsdell and had to gather it up on the apron, but no harm, no foul. A little bit of lost track position, but that'll come back to him, I'm sure.
Two by 2 up front for the lead. The 3 car is there. The 16 is there. The 2 car is there. And it appears the 20 is going to give that 2 car the push that might seal the deal off turn 2. But look at the 3 and the 16 not giving up. These guys are breaking away.
That's Cody Dutton and Jeff Ramsdell getting a push from Brock Drury and Shane Doherty. Looks like Brock's doing a bit of a better job at the moment because Cody Dutton gets the position back and clears the number 2 of Jeff Ramsdell. But Doherty's not giving up quite well. Looks like Ramsdell decided to duck back in line and get ready for another charge. Meanwhile, Chris Overland with a push from the 95 is a big head of steam, and now he's going to get alongside Ramsdell for 3rd. Now along Brock Drury for 2nd, and now to the lead, side by side for the lead with Cody Dutton. Looks like Steven Ezenzi's got a little bit hot, had to stop pushing, and stalled the progress of Chris Overland just a little bit, but now he's back on his bumper, pushing him again, and Overland is clear of Dutton. Looks like he wanted to go to the bottom. Now, he makes a late decision, has to give it up, and that's going to cost him the lead.
I think he might have been clear there, but the 3 was not letting him in line either way.
He was clear, and it looked like he wanted to stick with the 95, wanted to pull him up with him, but the 95 was just lagging back a little bit. Overland decided at the last second that he did want to pull down, but by that point, it was too late. And we look at the 95 of Steven Ezenzi. He's caught back in around 6th position, and they're all fanning out behind him, trying to find somebody to push him. Looks like he's found a partner in the number 5.
Overland back to the outside now by himself working the draft, and it's starting to work. He's going to get to the outside of the 3 here. Now he's got to push from Ramsdell. Looks like he's going to take the lead here.
They're 3 wide going through the tri-oval for the lead right now as they come to complete lap number 49. Give the lead at the line to Chris Overland up at the top. They are 3 by 3 up there for first through sixth. Now they sorted out 2 by 3.
That was our 21st lead change on the day.
And it looks like we might have a 22nd as Brock Drury gets a bit of a push, and he finds himself in the lead as they enter turn 3. Shane Doherty giving him the push there down the back stretch. Now they sort things out single file for the first 5 cars in line, and then they're double file behind them.
Wow, the 20 car goes way high. I'm not sure if he's looking for air or if he has a run. But that was an abrupt move.
I'll tell you who does have a run. That's the number 8, working with a push from Chris Overland up there on the high side. They're 3 wide, working for the 4th position. Now working their way to the outside of the 95 for 3rd. Meanwhile, Cody Dutton with a push, taking the lead back. So put Cody Dutton back to the point as they work their way off of turn number 4 with Brock Drury pushing right behind him. Steven Zenzi running 3rd, finds his way back into line just in front of Ben Hancock. And then in 5th you have the number 8. That being Corey Carpenter. Oh, looked like it might have been a little bit of contact there between the 8 of Carpenter and the 20. Sent the 20 down onto the apron there, that being Shane Doherty, but they gathered up, they keep going. Doherty has a push from Jeff Ramsdell, and we see Triffin Davis peeking into the picture behind them.
It looks like they're creeping up on a lot of lap traffic here, and I don't know if I saw it correctly, but it looked like the 3 of Dutton was actually using the lap car on the apron for a little bit of draft, trying to get a little bit more gap on the 95.
Yeah, being a little bit creative, I guess, there. But a lot of these cars that they're catching, it wasn't that long ago that we went green, but a lot of these cars sustained damage in those early. Oh my goodness, there's contact, and Brock Drury did a good job to hold on to that one.
Wow.
That was a pretty aggressive looking chop there out of Cody Dutton. I don't know if he just happened to look up in his mirror and saw that their bumpers were getting misaligned and wanted to get him back behind him for the push, or if he really didn't want him to make a move on him. But nonetheless, Brock Drury ends up making a good save on the front stretch.
But as a driver, whenever you see something like that happen in front of you, you definitely don't want to be behind that guy that just threw a block like that. I mean, you can see Steven in the 95 working as hard as he can to get around a 3, and
Steve has been working hard to get around pretty much anyone that happens to be in front of him so far today, and it's worked for him. And just want to document there, the field is going into turn number 1 right now, and working his way through turn number 2 is Kyle Tarasca, who sustained damage in one of those earlier incidents. A contender in Daytona, but it would seem that just too much to overcome here at Talladega to be able to contend for the win. Cody Dutton, he's playing some games there with those running behind him. He'll work his way up to the outside, working down the backstretch, and they'll cut back down in front of him as they get a run on him. And he does the same thing here on the front stretch, works his way up 2 lanes and then cuts back down in front of the pack. Working the draft. Single file through about the first 5 cars, and then we have Brock Drury trying to recover from what happened to him with some help from the 81 and the 47 of Chris Overland. Right now that's good for about 7th for Brock as he continues to mount that charge up there on the high line. Now he's side by side with Ramsdell for 5th, making 4th, now 3rd as that inside line accordions. He's side by side with Zenzi for 2nd. And as the 81 continues to push him, we'll see if he can get side by side with Dutton for the lead.
Yeah, they're going to have the run here. And it looks like Steven's going to make the move to the bottom of Dutton, and that's going to get him out of the line. But now he's using the outside line.
Oh, there's the bumper grab again for Brock Drury on the number 3 of Dutton. He came up to block him, and Chris Overland had to get on the brakes there to keep from running into Brock Drury as he was working his way up the middle. If I'm Brock Drury, I think I might be a little bit upset with the driver of the number 3 right now. That's 2 times that moves from the number 3 of, oh my goodness, aggressive blocking right there.
3 does not want to lose this lead. Not today, not tomorrow, not ever. It's if you're gonna be near him, you're gonna be pushing him because he is not having any of it right now.
And Brock Drury, I can only imagine how upset he is in that car right now, because well, that's 3 incidents that we've caught there with Cody Dutton working pretty hard to keep him behind him. Still fairly early in this race, quite a ways to go. With these continued moves out of Cody Dutton, there's adding fuel to the fire, and then there's putting a gasoline tank next to an ignited flame. And that's what it seems Cody Dutton has done so far. But we see them working their way around some lap traffic.
It's interesting what they've done here. Even though the cars are already heated up, they've been on this run for a while. They just managed to push and actually pull away from the rest of the leaders.
Yeah, there's a sizable gap, about 10 car lengths between them and Chris Overland. But meanwhile, Brock Drury was able to take the lead away from Dutton. But as I was about to say, once they stop pushing each other, I think that's just going to allow the pack behind them to get a really good run on them, and they're going to be hard pressed to keep them behind them.
As hard as the 16 was just pushing, you got to wonder how long he can actually even stay behind a car right now, let alone pushing one.
He gets caught up behind one of those lap cars, and that allows Cody Dutton to sail around on the outside. He's going to try and get around both these lap cars and put 2 cars between himself and second place. But it doesn't look like he's going to quite be able to do it. He's by himself on the outside. Well, now he was able to. But the number 30, Brandon Hoff, he's trying to work his way back onto the lead lap the old-fashioned way, and he has Brock Drury behind him at the moment. Now Brock sells back in line. So there's 57 laps complete. Cody Dutton leads. We have the 16 of Brock Drury running second, and Chris Overland coming up in third, and he has that run I was talking about. He goes up the middle between the lap car and second place. Oh, there's contact! Oh my goodness, Brock Drury holds on to it again.
He just can't get a break tonight.
I don't know if he's incredibly lucky or incredibly unlucky, because on one hand, he seems to be finding...
oh no! Leaders reckon Chris Overland hard in the wall.
Oh, this appears to be...
and they're coming in late here.
Goodness.
A lot of cars coming in real late.
A lot of cars flying through the infield at full speed. It looks like one of them took a spin after the fact on the front stretch by the dog leg headed towards turn 1, but pretty shocked to see how quick people were going into that crash. But nonetheless, another big incident.
A lot of
occurring on
cars
lap
torn up
59.
once again, and we're just dwindling down the car count here. Unfortunately, I don't think we're going to have enough cars to have a race if this is the mentality people are going to continue to have.
Well, it seemed, it was all building up. It was a matter of those front 2 pulling away from the main pack, and then when the main pack caught up to them, just a lot of momentum, and it looked like Cody Dutton put on another pretty aggressive move from the angle I'm looking at on Chris Overland, and it bit him.
Yeah, that right there is all of Cody Dutton's fault, and I wouldn't be surprised if he got punched. But quite honestly, that again, it like you said, it was mounting up, it was building up. It was only a matter of time before Cody Dutton put someone on the wall, and unfortunately, it's going to put about 6 or 7 of the lead pack cars in there,
if not more. But Cody Dutton, he found himself in the wrong place in the wrong time in Daytona. Had to come back from a few things to get back into a position. Ended up falling short of the win. I think that his mentality was for this race that he needed to stay up front as much as possible, and he made some, those last few laps, he made some moves that I myself would question, and certainly that most recent one that sent a lot of cars into the garage.
Yeah, it looks like
with
about
damage.
8 or 9 here. After you equate some of the guys that came in here very late, got a little bit of the wreck.
Unfortunate for our Daytona winner, too. He's just working his way to the outside, about to take the lead, and Dutton washes up, trying to take some of that side draft away from him, and just goes too far.
Yeah, that one car that we'd seen come in there, the 25 car, Steve Bonesteel, 175 miles per hour when he finally had gotten to the pack that was crashing. So he was hauling it. And
he was
missed
operating
everybody.
under 2002 rules, I would have to say. Race back to the line, I guess, but that's not how it works.
No, I mean, I don't think he's going to make up any positions legally, but if we were going back before the no racing back rule, he would have made up just about 13.
I'll tell you what, though, if things are going to work out for you, they can't work out any more beautifully than they did for the number 95 of Steven Nizenzi. It seemed the seas parted for him and all that chaos. He was running fourth and came up on that, and they just kind of wrecked around him, and he found his way through and to the lead.
Yeah, but boy, that's not going to leave us a lot of cars here. Right now, officially, I think we're going to have, I want to say 15 cars that are going to be in this lead pack. Now, that's not equating how many of these cars have damage. Excuse me, I'm going to go back. Officially, last time by we had 22 cars that had crossed the line on the lead lap. It looks to be we're going to knock about 2 or 3 cars off that. So, yeah, it's going to be around 20 or 19 cars that are going to be either on the lead lap or going to be able to sustain a reasonable speed. Going back over who has wrecked or who has been in an incident, when it comes down to it, so many people have been in an incident and got a little bit of cosmetic damage. You really can't guarantee who's going to be at speed and who isn't. So at this point, we're just going to wait before we say anything.
Lights are still on atop the pace car, so that's we still have a couple more pace laps to do. We're gonna step away for another commercial break, and we'll be back hopefully to take the green.
Did you take the commercial break?
Yes.
That's cool. Yeah, I went and got PB&J because it was kind of calming down and got right back and shit was happening.
Ricky. Great win today. What was it that put you up first?
Just a super race car all day long. This thing handled good. Fat back display, put a great chassis under, great horsepower under the hood. Just a great car.
What else worked for you today?
Well, I tell you, right when we needed a great stop, these guys cranked out 12 and a half seconds, put us out front, and gosh, after that we didn't have to look back.
Anything else off the top of your head?
Well, let me think a minute. I can't think of anything.
Give it your all. Give it Haviland.
I know I'm forgetting something.
That'd be 9, but 8 that got real damage.
Yeah, not too many. Going back here, we in really the midst of unfortunate luck and bad luck, that being Brock Drury, it continues to just change the whole outlook of the world in a matter of seconds for him. Here it is, the whole field's wrecking in front of him. Nowhere to go, and I'm going to make it. Oh, here comes a car at 175 miles per hour. I'm barely going to clip him. I don't clip him. I made it. It's like bad luck, good luck. And like Tyler had put it before, whether you put it or not, he's had a little bit of both tonight, but he's come out on the good end every time.
I was in the middle of making that point as they all went around in front of him, and, it was kind of a little bit of bad luck that put him in a position to, potentially get into that, but it was the good luck that found his way through. If I have the amount of good luck to counter the bad luck that he's had, I think I'll take it.
Yep. And if you're just joining us for this race, we want to apologize because we're kind of lacking in cars right now. If you happen to miss the first half of the race, it was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. We went about 30-some laps with no more than 2 car spins, equating to 2 cautions. Then, unfortunately, after that, it all went downhill with a big crash that took out about 8 cars, and then another crash just happening just a couple minutes ago that took out at least another 8 cars. So, fortunately, we are dwindling down the car count here.
Yeah, we've had quite a few retirees seen here. Cody Dutton among them, also Brandon Hoff, Stephen Little Jr., among others, all calling it a night. But what this is going to do is it's going to put some of those drivers who were kind of hanging out at the back, or maybe just couldn't quite get going on those restarts just with how the field accordioned up and losing the draft. It's going to put them up at the front. It's going to put them in with the top 15 or so contenders who don't have any damage, and it's going to put them in the position to possibly take advantage.
Yeah, someone I'm just thinking about now is we haven't seen a couple of these drivers up front, specifically the 27 and the 28. They've been riding in the back for a while now, and a couple other guys are involved there as well, obviously, but those two guys right now stick out the most because we've seen them kind of be in a position to dodge most of the wrecks, and they're putting themselves in a pretty darn good position to win this race. That's if we, have enough cars to have a race at the end, but coming to the green flag, we're about to find out who is going to have enough a car to keep speed here. That's what's going to be the big story here.
I'm going to be keeping my eye on Mike Johnson there in the 69. We haven't seen much of him today, but he finds himself running 7th. We'll see what he can do up there.
Oh, and a jumbled restart here. Green flag back out. That is one of the slower restarts I've ever seen here at Talladega.
Steven Zenzi took a different approach on that restart, brought the field down on the bottom. Didn't see too many takers on the outside, though, before the start-finish line.
Yeah, he definitely tripped some guys up by doing that. All day we've been seeing restarts up right by the wall, and I'm sure that there's a little bit of a rule against when and when you can't pass on the restart, so that probably had a lot of checking up right there.
Yeah, we see them working down the backstretch. A lot of drivers up each other's bumpers right now. One false move, and that can send them spinning around again.
And at this point of the race, I think people are just over it, when it comes to taking it easy, because they haven't been able to. I mean, they'd get crazy, and then they'd wreck, and they'd take it easy, and then they'd wreck again. So at this point, it's just up in the air. As the 18 and the 69 coming across the line now, we're going to be the new leaders on lap 65.
I said to watch that 69. He pushes the 18 up to the lead. The 95 of Steven Zenzi went up to block them, and he opened up the inside, ended up finding himself in the sucker hole. Goes from first to fifth.
Sorry to interrupt you there, but we've got a yellow on the track, and it looks like the 41 has gotten turned around there. And that is in the back, and I think that may be... Yeah, that's definitely because of some connection issues. So one car crash, just everybody misses them. And looks like we're going to be back under a yellow flag situation once again.
Well, that's unfortunate. They made it a lap. They were kind of getting everything situated. They had a bit of a moment where they were going 3 wide and, an attempted block, but they held together, and now back under caution. They're going to have to work their way through another restart. Your leader at the moment that happened, though, was the 18 of Stephen Landry. Second, Mike Johnson in the number 69. Third, number 8 of Corey Carpenter. Fourth, Ryan Cobb in the number 10. We haven't spoken much about him, but he's been hanging around in that lead pack all night long and now finds himself running the top 5. And Steven Zenzi, running first on the restart, now finds himself 5th.
Since we have some time here before we see the green flag come out again, I would like the broadcast booth to go on board with Trevor Smith, the 7 car, go back to lap 65 when the caution was initially coming out, and watch it from the start-finish line on to turn 2 and just look at this driving. Not necessarily missing the crash, but just letting it fold out and just getting very lucky not hitting him.
What lap was that?
It was 65 going across the line. And it's going to be Trevor Smith in the 7 car, and he just barely misses the 41. That is as close as it gets.
It looked like he was trying to figure out which way he could go, and with the way Matt Stelneck was spinning there, it was hard to figure out whether he was going to keep going down or come back up, and at the last moment he barely broke up, and the 7 had to dodge high and
barely
missed him.
One of my favorite parts about that little incident there is the 13 of Mark Beach, he just didn't care. He held his line. He's seen Trevor coming up. He just held it. Wow, I don't even know if Mark's seen Trevor, but man, it's hard to say who was closer to hitting one of each other. Was it this Trevor, the 7 car, or was it the 41, or was it the 13? They were all close at one point to hitting each other.
Just one of those moments where one car incident very nearly became multiple, but they fortunately found themselves in just the right spot to make it look really interesting without being bad for themselves.
Yeah, definitely getting some airtime here.
And didn't really have much time on that green flag run to see who was up to speed, so hard to tell you right now at this point how many contenders we have. But those who had damage, this is a little bit more time for them to get into pit lane and get some more of that damage fixed. Possibly, as attrition continues, you can make up more spots, and heck, if the damage wasn't too terrible, maybe get yourself in a position where in the draft you might be able to stick around.
Well, we've yet to take the one to go yet. Let's see if we can get a hold of one of our remaining front runners here. I'm going to bring Corey Carpenter in.
Buddy was moved to your channel.
Hey Corey, it's Alex Pace up in the booth. How you doing?
Doing pretty good.
We see you're still surviving this thing. We're having a few cautions here real quick in the closed stages of the race here. You got a game plan?
I'm just Steven as any we're trying to work together, and we got a little bit of damage, but I got rear damage, he's got front end damage, so he's gonna push me. I mean, we're just trying to survive to the late ends of the race. That's what we've been trying to do the whole race, and I'm just gonna ride out and see what happens. I mean, all these guys up here are working together. We're gonna try to break them up and see what we can do.
All right, yeah, definitely gonna be interesting to see what's going on here. A lot of guys missing the people they've been working with all day, and damaged cars and whatnot. All right, we're gonna let you go now. One to go. Good luck.
Yep, thank you.
Buddy was moved out of your channel.
That was Corey Carpenter. We see him on track. He's running in the 3rd position right now. He said he has a little bit of damage on that car, but it doesn't appear that it's keeping him from contending at this point in time.
But I like that plan that he has, where he has rear damage and his partner has front damage. It's like they're gonna try and cover that up by being together.
But they take advantage of the best of each car, pretty much.
Right.
And limit how bad the effects are of the worst of each car. The other part of his plan, which would be to just make it to the end clean, is really great in theory, but harder to execute, as we've seen so far.
Yeah, at this point, I think it would be easier to win the lottery than to make it to the end of this race, because everybody, like I said, the mentality is just so out there now, where people are, it's not that they're not taking it seriously, but it's like, what can we do? I mean, no matter what we do, we wreck. We take it easy, we wreck. We just go crazy, we wreck. So I think it's get all you got, lead this race, be there when the caution comes out, and most likely ends under yellow, like I said, if we get there.
Well, there's quite a few drivers in this field who have been showing patience and want to just make it to the end of the race, but unfortunately you're not the only driver out there, and when somebody up front makes an aggressive move or even just makes a simple mistake, you can fall victim to that, and I'm sure that's been the situation for a lot of the drivers who have now had to retire for the evening, including Jeffrey McClintock and Triffin Davis.
Green flag back in the air as the 18 in the 69 going to lead them to turn number 1 again. Everybody behind them, accordion effect, and they get it figured out for the time being.
And we saw the 95 of Steven Zenyi making a really aggressive move under Ryan Cobb. Made it work though. Gains a position there, and Brock Drury's going to follow him through that hole.
Just down the back stretch, we're getting back up to speed, where we've seen the biggest crashes of the day occur, just getting up to speed. Looks like everybody's going to have an easy time now as the front 2 start to pull away. We know that won't last. but for the time being, they are starting to make some good headway on pulling away from this pack behind them. But how long can the 69 stay behind the 18? And when that occurs, that the swap I'm talking about, how long will it take the 8 and the 15 or the 95 to catch that pack?
Trying to see how many cars that we have running at full sound. Looks like the last lead lap car we have here in this big pack would be the 27 of Hayden Rapa. He's currently running in the 11th position, so it looks like we have 11 cars at this point in time who are running quick enough to contend.
Yeah, and like I said, if it keeps the way it is, it might not come into effect, but I'm going to have to cut myself off because lead change up front, almost 3 wide for the lead. The 8 is going to move to the front of the pack. Corey Carpenter and his teammate, the 95, making their way back up front.
Oh, but don't look now. Mike Johnson in the 69 gets that run on the high side and gets the lead at the line.
Yeah, gonna need to be a little bit more of an organized plan to get that one working.
And I just want to correct what I said earlier. Nick Lancaster in the 33 runs 12th, and he's also in that lead pack.
We're going on what I was saying is, you know, if we keep having these crashes, it's not going to matter who has damage, because at that point it's just be everybody has damage and race them to the flag. Unfortunately, I think we're starting to see as the 95 pulls right up in front of Corey Carpenter. I don't think that was the block to, you know, get it going again, but those 2 cars up front are actually pulling away, and they're actually holding them off now. They might be one of the 2 cars that don't have damage.
You know, with we see them making the swap there in turn 1 with how many drivers have damage. There's not as many of them that form a pack, and
yeah,
you know, you can get away with doing the switching, and you might just have to find somebody who doesn't have damage and make it work. As we now see that second little tango catch up to them.
Yeah, but that's the 2 tangos right there. Those are the two dominant tangos there that are holding them off. And man, I just want to go back and just say the 69 and the 18 had one of the best swaps I've seen in this game in a long time, going into 1 and 2. So congrats to them. And that actually, them doing that has actually pulled a good margin over the cars behind them. Contacting the 69 is sideways. Just as I say this, now that's going to ruin all of that. They're going to get detached here.
Well, the other thing that you have, you know, is yet to be seen here is how many laps, you know, as they continue to build up the temperature back up in the engines, if they're going to be able to keep on pushing each other, or if they're going to have to swap too frequently where it completely defeats the purpose. Of course, if you get disconnected like the 69 and the 18 just did, that's really going to throw a wrench in your plan.
And speaking of a wrench into the mechanical machine that we have here, will the 18 back off? Because the problem we have now is the 8 and the 95 are together. They're nose to tail, but the 18 is in the sucker hole, per se, where he's not gaining, but he's not losing. And if he is losing, it's very incremental, you know, amounts of time, but he just gains in 1. Okay, that changes it all. But these 3 cars, they stay nose to tail. Until someone tangos and does it efficiently, we're not going to see any more than the 3-car lead pack here.
Well, I was just about to say, I think that Stephen Landry there in the 18, he's banking on those temperatures being too high for those front 2 and them giving up that whole pushing each other deal, and hoping perhaps that nobody else will be able to catch up to them, because there's not too many cars to form up a little pack and catch up to them. But we see the 69 and among others working their way back up to those first 3.
Yeah, and just like I said, it's going to either take something up front that is going to throw a wrench in this mechanical machine we have here, or someone's going to tango, and a little bit of both, as the 18 is kind of being a kind of a pendulum towards this whole thing that they got going on here, and there we go. They are back into the pack. So now that 3-car pack is gone, and we have a slightly larger pack, is contact.
Oh my goodness, there they go again.
Huge hit by the 18, and unfortunately I think that's going to be just about it for that car. As
also
he made
another good hit for the 26.
And it looks like the 95 is going to be done. The 18 is definitely done.
Just a big block thrown there by the 95, and he just got in a jam, and it ended up catastrophic.
Yeah, he moved up there for the block, and then he's been making moves like that all day, and it worked for him up until that point. Unfortunately, several others paid the price for that as well.
I'm not sure if the 18 just really misjudged it or what, but
it is very odd looking.
Yeah, it definitely looks malicious. I must say it. Malicious is to say that, to say the very least.
Yeah, the 95 does come up, but then he holding his line there, and it looks like they've got it all sorted out. And then I don't know if something happened with the 18 because he just dove to the left, and I don't know if something happened on his end as far as his connection, because when I'm looking at it, he goes through the 95 quite a bit, so I don't know if something happened on his end that sent him no longer into control of his race car, or if he wanted to send the 95 a message. But nonetheless, a lot more cars wadded up on the backstretch.
Yeah, what I'm seeing here is what the 95 did was completely fair and acceptable, because it is getting to the end of the race, and even the 95 gave the 18 the benefit of the doubt by pulling down a little bit after he'd made the move, so he wasn't going to give the 18 into a bind. And unfortunately, like you said, I don't know the 18 car, so I can't judge, his reputation, but to me it just seems like you said, something may have went amiss on his end, because it seems that he drove right through him, like theoretically and literally. So I'm not sure. It appears that the admins are seeing differently as he's been removed from the server. Like you said, a lot more cars.
I saw a discussion of lag switch, but I don't know if you can. I don't know if I'd agree with that, because if I were driving right there, I don't know that in the midst of taking someone out, I would also have the what's the word I'm looking
Presence
for?
of mind.
The
If I would have the
opportunity.
awareness to go ahead and flip that lag switch in time to spin that car, but also go through it at the same time, and then disengage that lag switch and continue along wrecking as I was.
Yeah.
And I saw that discussion happening, but I don't know what they ultimately decided. But nonetheless, he's no longer on the track.
To the viewers that are curious about what a lag switch is, a lot of the games base their connection off the host. And since the host is what everybody connects to and no one is the host, they can theoretically turn their connection off, the person with the lag switch, and still affect the cars around them if an instantaneous switch is flipped. So unfortunately, that's what games have become these days. I mean, in 2003, it wasn't as prevalent as it is in iRacing. It's unfortunate that we even talk about it, because it shouldn't even be brought up, because it's unacceptable. We don't have any proof that that's what has just occurred, and it probably isn't what happened, because like Tyler said, that takes a lot of awareness and a lot of, well, this is what I need to do. It's not like you could have planned what it was exactly going to go down. So malicious, maybe, as in the fact that he maybe was trying to rub him a little bit, maybe show him that he wasn't pleased, or it's a lot of things. This is what you get when you play over the internet. You have a lot of different variables that come into play: connection, the other person's connection, and just the honesty of that's another person. They are another person with a brain, with 2 feet, 2 arms, and they're driving their car. You're driving your car. It's eventually going to go wrong eventually. So I mean, you can never guess what's going on in those drivers' heads, whether it be real, online, in the real world. It just comes down to stuff happens, but sometimes it's malicious.
I think as far as that goes, the only person who is ever going to know 100% as far as what happened and what the intentions were would be the 18 of Stephen Landry. And talking about the lag switch thing, it's just like real life. You look for any advantage that you can get, whether or not it's frowned upon or not. You do whatever you can to win. And speaking further on that, the only thing that I could see being a situation where the lag switch would have been already engaged when that happened is in this game. If you have the lag switch engaged while you're in the midst of drafting, it can give you a tremendous amount of speed. So if he happened to be working that while he was trying to work his way up the pack, and then that incident happened, then I could possibly see that being a scenario in which it happened. But again, there's no way to know for sure, so I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna put in stone that that is what happened. It's just another scenario among many that could have ultimately been exactly what happened.
I'm being told by one of the 18's teammates that the lag switching is not what occurred. He was just genuinely upset with the block that Steven threw on him.
Hey,
well,
wake up.
Like I said, that it had that malicious look to it. Unfortunately, it's going to take out some drivers. Nothing you can really do now. About to go back to green flag racing.
And just to say quick, I guess as far as him going through the other car, chalk that up to the net code.
Green flag in the hands of the starter. There it is. Corey Carpenter, a very late start. They are back into the gas, and we're going to try to go back to green flag racing for a little bit longer as we are closing in on the end of this race with just about, as they come across the line, 16 cars still remaining on this track on the lead lap.
And 16 laps to go as they work lap number 79. Single file there working at the bottom of the racetrack. It looks like the best friend for Corey Carpenter is that yellow line. There's beginning to be fewer and fewer people who can mount that charge on him.
Don't look now, but we have a steam rolling down the backstretch. We have the 10 and the 69 carrying some tail going into 3 and 4. And as Ryan Williams is going to get held up by, I believe, the 13 there, that's going to give them more of an advantage off turn number 4. They are making up some time. It's just a matter of do they have enough time and do they have the least amount of damage.
Well, they're taking advantage of those engines being pulled back off, getting that push while they still can.
And just on this restart, they were, what I'm showing, almost around last place, and now they've moved up to the 7th place position, last place in the lead lap, of course. As they come off turn number 2, they get by the 81, and they're going to try to get to the 27 of Hayden before they have to do the swap inevitably.
Be interesting to see. Yep, it looks like they're going for that swap right now, and the 69 would still be pretty cool as far as his temperature. So if they execute this swap pretty well, 69 can get up there, push Ryan Cobb, make up even more ground on those front runners.
Yeah, and it appears that the 8 and the 16 aren't being too dominant compared to everybody else. They're not able to pull any big of or any type of a huge margin like we've seen before. As of right now, this time by, still under a second separated them. The third position.
Remember, we talked to Corey Carpenter under caution there a couple cautions ago, and he said that he had some rear end damage. Maybe that's a little bit more drag, and it's keeping him close to those behind him.
Yeah, and just like that, here they come. Ryan Cobb in the 69 car. They're going to go to the high side. They're actually going to be 3 by 3 as they go through turns 3 and 4. Where did this come from? We suddenly have a race. Now, how long will it last?
Shane Doherty working the middle there. It looks like he's going to edge up to the lead, but Ryan Cobb's coming up on the outside with help from Mike Johnson. Ramsdale pushes Doherty to the lead. Meanwhile, Carpenter and Brock Drury drop back.
Yeah, and it looks like the 69 and the 10 got too hot. They didn't execute the swap yet. He's just trying to get some more air to that, and then there it is, the inevitable swap, but it's going to be a little bit different. Corey Carpenter is going to take over for that, and I think he's going to try to get in front of him. Carpenter goes in the middle there. He is behind the 69 car, and they're looking to hook up down the backstretch. Oh, tight racing in 3 and 4. You got to be careful there, lads.
We see them sort of settling things out, trying to plan their next move. Mike Johnson worked his way up into 3rd, and now he's looking to the outside. The question just is can Ryan Cobb get up to his bumper? It looks like he's going to get there now, but a little too late to make the run at that point.
Something I've just not been able to wrap my head around is the fact that Hayden in the 27 and the 81 and the 28, those 3 cars haven't been in any big crash and haven't received any damage, but they're just not able to get to the front. I still think these guys have some hope to finish strong in this race tonight.
I think they're looking at it. They have 12 laps left in this race, and that is a long time to work with. And don't forget, if there's a caution within 5 laps to go, everybody stop him. We're going to get another shot at it, so you don't have to worry about a caution ending the race. Just make sure you have the fenders on it and you can make a charge at the end.
Speaking of the fenders, the 8 and the 16, who have seen a little bit of everything today, they go back up to the point. New leader up front. And the story you could write about the 16 of Brock Drury, my goodness, he has seen fire and rain, and Joey Chitt would be proud of him today.
I don't know how much I'd want him. If I were Brock Drury, I don't know how much I'd want you to be talking about how much good luck he's had amidst the bad luck, because that good luck, there can only be so much of it. We don't want to jinx him. But he has done a really good job working through adversity and driving his way out of bad situations.
Yeah, I want to say 20 or 30 laps ago, we seen Brock sideways, looking out the side window, heading towards 3 and 4, while everybody behind him flipping over and crashing. He rallied the troops, got it back up front. He's leading at Talladega, finishing lap 84 here of 94. 10 laps to go now.
And they're single file there through the first 6 cars. Then they're side by side for 7th there. Looks like it's Ryan Williams and Ryan Cobb working back there, but now we see the 20 with a push from Jeff Ramsdale, trying to work the outside, trying to get back up to the lead.
Oh, Carpenter all checked up on the bottom. Now look at Jeff Ramsdale and the 20, like you just said, making it work on the high side. As the 2 guys on the bottom have gotten disconnected, and they're going to take advantage of it off 4.
And he was key to Chris Overland. Oh, he goes to the
3
middle.
wide.
It looks like he's going to try and fit in there. Not quite.
Oh,
There he
contact.
goes around.
Oh, no.
Barrel rolling down into the infield asphalt. Finally comes to rest on its tires, and that car is done.
Wow. Yep.
He finished 3rd in our race at Daytona and was a big player in Chris Overland getting the victory. I was just about to say he might be a key player again today. Not this time.
Yeah, it looks like he was pushing the 20 while he was pinching down on the inside line, and he just got a little bit of that bumper grab we've been seeing today, and that was catastrophic.
Well,
Yeah.
in my opinion, he was trying to work his way to the inside and put it 3 wide for the lead. And just when the 20 came down to pick him back up, they bumper grabbed, and like you said, they went flying.
Again,
the
I don't
69.
wanna...
69 also went flying there. Mike Johnson.
I want to just bring it up that the 2 car made a last-second decision to save what probably would have been the rest of the field. If you look, I'm not sure if it was his general thinking at the moment, but he does overcorrect twice, and that last overcorrect sends him inevitably to the wall where he will flip over and, onto Hayden. But at that last-second decision, he misses hooking the 16, who would eventually have hooked the 20, who would have eventually blocked the racetrack, and we might have seen that race just end right there. So again, Brock is still in this and is going to start second on this restart.
You know, you talked about them flipping over and onto the 27 of Hayden Raypa. I think he might have gotten through that well enough that he's going to be okay.
I think he might have got one of those classic breaks you see here in iRacing, where the car at that point is no longer solid, and he might not be no longer eligible for the bonus for no incidents, but he's still in the race.
And he's still in contention for the big prize, which comes for the win.
Yeah, just a hard hit by those drivers. Unfortunately, with what iRacing's got with the rather interesting walls they have here, where it just bounces into traffic, it really makes it hard to dodge a crash. But I don't know about it. Honestly, in real life, I think it would have ended quite the same. Not as extravagant, obviously, but we've seen Dale Earnhardt had that exact same wreck back in the 90s at Talladega. It is not flipping, just rolling over, and definitely not going 20 feet in the air.
It would seem that with the way that iRacing has it, it's more suited for Hollywood. More theatrical.
Yeah, I think Michael Bay loves this game because his budget is just about $12 a month.
Not quite as many explosions as he'd like to have, but nonetheless, right up his alley.
Nothing you can't fix in post, but yeah, it's definitely something that is associated with his mindset, most definitely. Nothing like having a couple cars fly through the air. And we've seen cars upside down today. And believe it or not, it's not really.
We've seen cars in all sorts of different positions today.
Oh yeah, like I said in the beginning, it's the Twilight Zone factor. Once you enter, you're traveling through a time and space that you're not accustomed to, and sometimes that traveling through space is literal because we've seen some cars get some air today.
I'll tell you what. I think I know what happened with Hayden. I said earlier somebody was going to ask to get beamed up. I think that's what happened to him. And blink of an eye, they beamed him up and out of a bad situation, put him back. It must be what it was. That's the explanation we were looking for.
Yes.
Well, while Bobby and Tyler exchange cinematic jokes, we're going to go to a commercial break.
And serious health problems. Less toxic so it doesn't cause hangovers.
Eventually
if you're an adult who enjoys a good beer, there's a similar product you might want to know about. One without all the calories and serious health problems. Less toxic so it doesn't cause hangovers or overdose deaths, and it's not linked to violence or reckless behavior. Marijuana, less harmful than alcohol, and time to treat it that way. For more information, visit marijuanaissafer.org.
And we're back here at Talladega. The field works its way down the backstretch. Lights are still on the pace car. We'll be looking for possibly the field to receive one to go at the start-finish line this time by. Working lap 88 of 94.
Yeah, and finally this race seems to show the light at the end of the tunnel as far as the completion. Fortunately, there isn't going to be enough traffic to really make an impact. But it appears if we can make it a little bit more, and I say a little bit because it's not determined how many we will run because there is that opportunity that we may run a little overtime. Not necessarily overtime in the fact that laps are going to be extended, but we're going to put it into a red flag situation where it could definitely shake up what we might see. But as far as that goes, I think we're still going to see about... Honestly, I don't think we'll see any more than 6 cars have a shot, if that. I think you go past Hayden, you might get 1 or 2 cars past Hayden, but that's it. Anybody behind that really has no chance because we have the 20 up there, we have the 16, we have the 8 and the 28, and as far as I know, the 10, because those guys have not received any damage whatsoever. We're still waiting to see if Hayden's going to be affected by any of that. As Alex explained, a lot of iRacing's logic kind of constitutes, once the car has rolled over, the prediction system that iRacing offers kind of goes askew, and you get times where you'll hit a car that's invisible, and they'll show an effect on their screen, but you'll just drive right through them.
And we did receive one to go that time by, so we're working lap 89. We'll begin lap 90 on the restart. That'll be 5 laps to go. And you were talking about those guys behind Hayden and maybe a couple without damage that'll be in contention, but even those drivers with damage, we've seen a lot of carnage today. And if they wreck the right way and they find the right hole, they might just find themselves sneaking into a win.
Yeah, I think the key here is make it to the white, and then it's going to get interesting because unfortunately, with the way iRacing's got it set up with no green-white checkers, once that yellow comes out, after now, and when we see the yellow again, yeah, we'll probably do 1 red flag situation, but that'll be it. And even doing that's going to be pretty unfortunate and kind of a nuisance to this, but again, we're still waiting on if that may or may not be used. But if we can make it to the white flag, all goes out the window, even more than what we've seen in the last hour and a half. It's going to get, I don't know if you say crazy, it's going to get interesting, because that is definitely a vague description of what could occur.
Absolutely. That was a lot to follow just then. But what we're going to be looking at is a lot of drivers are going to be pushing each other, and they're going to, maybe try and get away with 5 laps doing just 2 or 3 swaps, and we're going to see who judges how long their motor is going to last and who doesn't do it right. We might see some engines detonate here.
Yeah,
But
let's see if
now's the time.
Yeah, Shane D and Brock D. Let's see if these guys can get it going. The double D's here up front. Let's see if they can get it rolling on the bottom. Green flag in the hands of the starter. We are racing. The 20, the 16, the 8, the 28, and the 10, all getting up to speed, and everybody behind them follows.
Looks like Brock Drury's going to get right up behind Doherty and try and give him a push. Carpenter stuck in the middle there with Ryan Cobb and Ryan Williams behind him. They were hooked up. And it's just going to be interesting to see who hooks up with who here as they work lap 90.
Yeah, it's the final countdown for Ryan Williams and even Hayden if he has no damage, because these guys have just done nothing all day. It's time for them to shine, and they need to get it going because next caution will most likely end the race if we don't go to a red flag situation.
There's nothing to hold up. There's no reason to hold back now. It's go time. If you're going to make your move, now's the time to do it.
And I think if the 28 hooks up with the 8 there, that'll be his only chance because him and the 10 are hooked up, but it looks like they're going to go around him. So maybe that's the place he needs to be. Ryan Williams looking to get around the 8, but up front, the 20 and the 16 have checked out for the time being.
But you just got to think that, caution's out on the speedway.
Respectively, they didn't get hooked together immediately there.
Brian Green has spun it, and that's going to be our caution here. Oh.
This is lap 91, 4 laps to go. If they stop them right now, they can get another restart in, but that's unfortunate.
Yeah. And looking back here, honestly, there was no reason for Trevor Smith and Brian Green to even...
Yeah, they were just
Brian Green.
They were just in the back, just pushing, I guess, trying to find some hope, and they just wrecked. That's
Yeah, you know what else I'll chalk it up to? They're running back there. They're losing the pack by a lot.
Yeah, it just comes down to that. That I'll try everything we can try, but unfortunately, if we don't go to this red flag rule, which I don't believe we are, that's going to be unfortunate because the race is over. And not unfortunate for the 20, but definitely unfortunate for everybody that just hung in the back all day to try to get something going. So it's reporting that Trevor Smith... Okay, that makes it look a little bit better. It looks like Trevor Smith lost his engine.
Buddy left your channel.
And him and Brian got together. Because of that, not because of Brian was being a little bit over aggressive. It's honestly just because of an engine let go. So, yeah. James needs pulled down here. James, Tyler. So they're coming around here. They've caught the pace car, and it doesn't look like we'll go to a red flag situation. So I guess it's fair. I mean, the 20 did a pretty good job all day.
Buddy was moved to your
reserved
channel.
his stuff, and looks like the 20 is going to get the win if all else goes to plan, and he doesn't either run out of gas, which I don't believe will occur, or blow an engine. So in the end, we didn't see the red flag rule displayed, and I think, in all fairness, it's appropriate. Doesn't seem appropriate because we've had such a messy last couple 50 laps, but the 20 car has earned his win, in 16, and the 28 of Ryan Williams is going to end up getting the top 3. Probably not where he wants to be, definitely because he ran all in the back all day, but the 10. He fought through adversity, and there he goes. Ryan Cobb going to get a top 4 finish.
Yeah, hard to make the call to get the race back going there. They said within 5 laps to go they were going to throw the red flag, but they took 4 to go right there. By the time you bring them around and stop them on pit lane, 3 to go is being taken by the pace car. By the time the pace car takes 1 to go, you come around and you're either taking 2 or 1 lap, and you certainly don't want to take the chance of only taking 1 lap for the finish. So.
Yeah, and at this point, I don't think it would matter if we did get a restart. The 20 is strong. Everybody else behind them, either one has damage or just doesn't have the car because of the position they're in. So at the end of the day, like I said, it's a good call to not let this go back green, because I don't think we would have had any cars left. Definitely with what we've seen.
Be sure to stick around after this race does become official, because we will be interviewing the top 3 drivers to get their perspectives of today's race and how they finished up.
We'll also be interviewing the winner of the bonus for no incidents if they are not inside the top 3. On the backstretch here on the final lap, the 20 will be your winner. Exciting race at the beginning, and then we had a caution about halfway that just sent it all downhill.
As they come off turn 4 here, we'll just go over who was all in the booth tonight and called the race for you. Made it all possible. We want to thank Flat Out Racing League for making it all possible. Some of the payouts are going to be coming from there. Upwards of $30, I think, in total, if I'm not mistaken. Somewhere around there. I want to thank Tyler Head for being the commentator, one of the commentators, one of the 3. Alex Bates, being the broadcaster, making it possible that you've seen this. And my name is Bobby Campbell. Hope you enjoyed the broadcast. We're going to watch the 20 car come across the line to make this official. And that'll be it. There it is.
250 miles of hard racing, and you have to tip the cap to the number 20, because there was a lot of carnage around him, and in the beginning of the race, it was really a lot of hard racing, trying to get to the lead, and he survived it all and found himself in the right place at the right time.
Well, hope you guys enjoyed the broadcast. I'm going to be heading out. We're going to see how it all works out as far as, what the turnout was, if people are interested in doing another one. And we might be back for another one. And I say might very loosely because it's probably going to happen. There's nothing set in stone. Just stay tuned to the forums and the Flat Out Racing League Facebook page. You can find all the information out there of upcoming events. And, so just stay tuned. Thanks for having me.
All right, well, as our winner is finishing up his celebration, we're going to bring down our 3rd place finisher, Ryan Williams,
Buddy
for an interview.
from your channel. Buddy was moved to your channel.
And we have Ryan Williams here with us down on pit lane after finishing 3rd. Ryan, take us through your day.
It was kind of topsy-turvy, to be honest. I started out the race with my brake pedal dragging, and I couldn't figure out why I was so slow. And then about, say, 20 laps from the end, I finally recalibrated and started working my way back up to the pack. It was a shame that we ended under yellow. I thought I really had something because we were getting a good run, me and Mr. Corncob.
Yeah, you and Ryan Cobb were working on it there when that last caution came out. Do you think you two were? How many times do you think you were going to swap? Were you going to stick with the Tango, or were you going to try and just get the traditional run that we saw earlier on in the event?
We probably were going to have to swap no matter what. You can only last about 1.5 if you were lucky. So, and we were pretty Loctite, so he was going to get hot pretty quick.
Well, it appears you've gotten the bronze medal in today's event. How does that feel as an upgrade from the wooden and/or plastic medal you could have received?
It feels pretty good because, brown's my favorite color. I take a lot of brown stuff all the time, and I just collect brown things like all types of brown stuff. So I love bronze. It's pretty cool, I guess.
I'd rather not know about what kind of brown stuff you collect, but nonetheless, congratulations.
Thank you.
Would you like to give a shout out or?
Yes, I would like to thank my cat Max. He is just a cute little kitty cat. I'd like to thank Jesus Christ because he is awesome. I'd also like to thank the guy that got in the server with number 666. He's my hero.
All right, that's Ryan Williams, everyone. Thank you. Good run today.
I love you.
Buddy was moved out of your channel.
Always an interesting interview.
All right, we're going to try and get a hold of our second place finisher, the 16 of Brock Drury. And I'm not sure that we're going to be able to.
That's unfortunate, too, because I was looking forward to talking to Brock. He went through a lot today and almost got it.
Now looking for our bonus money winner. The 10 of Ryan Cobb actually was the first finishing car with the least amount of incidents, and it don't appear we're going to be able to get an interview with him either.
Nonetheless, congratulations to him.
But after Doherty finishes up his victory lap, we will get an interview with him, and that'll conclude today's program.
If I were him, I would savor that victory lap. There's no cars flipping or spinning or blocking in front of him. He has the track to himself. He can enjoy the moment.
Looks like he may come to a stop down here by Victory Lane or do another burnout.
Why not?
Alright, he is stopped down here by Victory Lane. We're going to get a hold of him.
User was moved to your channel.
And here we are in Victory Lane with Shane Doherty. Shane, tell me about your race today and what you did right to end up in Victory Lane.
Well, we had a game plan. We stuck to it. Ride up front, do everything you could to stay up front, but don't get involved in any wrecks, and we executed that pretty much perfectly today. I was working with my buddy Case Brinksma early, then he got shuffled back late, so then I went with my other buddy Jeff Ramsdell, and we were making pretty good progress. And then we got caught up with that wreck with 35 to go. That took out a lot of people, so then I was able to march back up to the front and obviously get the win.
Now, how we're up here in the broadcast booth. We have our own perspective of the chaos that was going on out there on the track, especially in the last half of the race. But what was it like from the driver's seat as all that was happening around you?
It was just absolutely crazy, just 3-4 wide, Dueling action. It was a lot of fun, but intense at times.
Is there anybody you'd like to give a shout out to? Anybody you'd like to thank?
Absolutely. I'd like to thank my Mile High Motorsports teammates, Chris Largen, Brandon Hoff, Nick Lancaster, Dylan Rafferty, and Jeff Ramsdell for working with me today at some point. And I'd also like to thank Dave Sprinksma, one of my good buddies, for all the help he did today. And most importantly, I'd like to thank Brennan McGee for putting on this spectacular event. It was a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations on your big win, and enjoy the fruits of your labor.
Yeah, thanks. You guys have a good night.
User was moved out of your channel.
Alrighty, Alex, any closing remarks?
We were set to have a pretty exciting race, and we got it for a little bit, and didn't have the finish that we all wanted, but, you know, that's Dega.
Yeah, the Talladega, you can never expect that it's going to go the way that you think it through in your head. It always throws a curveball at you, and today that curveball was a series of big and theatrical crashes.
And assuming that this finish didn't hinder anything, in the future plans, we will be back in about a month to do national cars at a cookie cutter. Not sure which one yet, but gonna be stepping away from the super speedways for the upcoming one.
And that should be a pretty interesting race. Whichever track they end up picking out, we should see a lot of side-by-side action, but also with the national cars, a little bit of power taken away. So, going to have to work a lot on momentum, and it'll give drivers an opportunity to set others up and make a position. So it should be pretty fun to watch.
All right, and that'll be it for tonight. And I'd like to have a special thanks to all the viewers tonight. I saw at one point upwards of over 50, and that's awesome. And hope that you guys will watch it next time.
It's absolutely thanks to all of you for taking time out of your night to watch our hokey pokey little broadcast here of this Talladega race. We certainly appreciate it.